So what we're going to talk about today, I kind of mentioned it last time. We're going to talk about today is why do you see a lot of those young black men, black kids, wear their pants down like this, past their butt? There is a reason the pants are past their butt, and the reason is not good. I guarantee you that a lot of them don't even know why they're doing it. They'll tell you it's because of the rap culture and the rap artists are doing it. We'll get into that too, why the rap artists are teaching them to do that. But it has nothing to do, it has a little bit to do with the rap, has a little bit of culture to do with at their home. It has a lot to do with prison culture. And believe it or not, it has a lot to do with culture back in the time of slavery. And I guarantee you, if a lot of these young men knew where it originated from back in slavery, a lot of them would stop doing it immediately because they're mimicking something that happened way back in the time of slavery. Okay? So what we're going to do today, we're going to continue the topic last time where we were talking about learned helplessness. Remember the video we watched about learned helplessness? Okay. Do you guys have any questions about that first? No? All right. The way we're going to start this is, let's do it this way. There is something back in the time of slavery, and it still goes on today in prison life. Unfortunately, more black men are in prison by far than white men. There's a lot more black people in prison than white men, and they learn this pants thing in prison. They learn it in rap culture. So what we're going to talk about today is something that happened way back in the time of slavery, and it's called, here, I'll write it down and we'll talk about it. Buck breaking. This is a hard topic, okay? Hard topic, but you guys are strong enough to hear about this. And I need you to know about it because someone's got to know about it. I guarantee you, even in the black universities, they probably don't teach this. They should, but they don't. If they taught this in black universities, it would spread through the black community and black guys would not wear their pants like that. Okay? So, buck breaking. What is buck breaking? That is a tough topic. So to back it up a second, we're gonna talk about how it goes back to buck breaking is breaking the will or the spirit of a thing, in this case, of a person. You have to break their will, absolutely break their will. When you have a horse that's a wild horse, like back in the day, remember how, Yana, when we used to play that game, Red Dead Redemption? We used to go in the game and try to find wild horses to catch and ride and sell, whatever. Remember what we had to do to catch them? You had to tie rope around them, and they're bucking around, and they're wild, and they want to get away. They don't want anybody to touch them because they're wild and free. And then we have to catch them and jump on top of them and ride them until they stopped kicking and bucking. Remember that? That's how you train a horse in real life. If you got a wild horse in real life, someone, a bronco buster, has to get on that horse with a rope. They don't put a saddle on it because they won't let you put a saddle on it. You got to go on it bareback with a rope around its neck, and you got to jump on it, and the bronco buster has to ride that horse until it stops, because it's going to right away start kicking and jumping and bucking and spinning, and because it wants you to get off because it's wild and free, right? But if that bronco buster can ride that horse until the horse realizes he's never going to kick that cowboy off, and the horse will all of a sudden just calm down and relax. Why? Its will, its spirit is broken. It gave up. It realizes it can't win. It gives up. And usually it gives up for life. It's done. It is now a tamed horse. You have to do that maybe a couple more times, but that horse's now will is broken. It becomes, instead of a wild and free horse, it becomes a slave to that cowboy. That's his horse. He could put a saddle on it. He could tie it to the post with a little leather strap, and it will stay there and wait for him because its will has been broken. Here's another example. Have you ever heard the expression, an elephant never forgets?
No.
No? Kind of. There's an expression that they say, oh, elephant never forgets. Like that, they usually use that expression when someone gets hurt. Like if you hurt somebody really bad and you want to say, I'm never going to forgive you for that, I'm never going to forget for that, they'll say, an elephant never forgets. What does that mean? It means that you're never going to forget what happened. The expression comes from the way they train elephants. When an elephant is just a baby elephant, what they do is they separate it from its mother. They take a rope around its neck, not a thick rope, but a rope that's big enough to hold the elephant, and then they tie it to a post, and it's going to always try to get to its mother. And it's going to make noise, it's going to cry, and try to get to its mother. It can't break the rope because it's too little, right? But they leave it on that rope for days, weeks. Eventually, the elephant will give up trying because it knows it can't break the rope. Now, when that elephant gets older, do you think they increase the rope? Because it gets stronger. The elephant gets huge, it gets massively stronger. They never have to increase the size of the rope. They keep the same rope. Now, when the elephant is full grown and huge, all it's got to do is pull really hard one time, that rope will snap. But the elephant doesn't realize that. It remembers from when it was little that it couldn't break the rope, and it never tries again. Why? His will is broken. He'll never forgot. His will is broken. He's given up for life. That make sense? Yeah. That's where this buck breaking is. That's where the pants thing comes around their below their butt. Those young men, those black young men, some white, but usually the white ones are in the bad neighborhoods and they want to be friends with the black guys. But when the black guys wear their pants that low, they have basically, that's their sign that they have 100% given up on life. Almost all of them don't work. If you find one that does work, he shows up once in a while, does the bare minimum amount of work, and usually gets fired soon just to collect unemployment. But those people, they have given up completely on life. Okay. That's the sign, wearing the pants not down low, is that you have given up. Like, don't you know. That's their sign when they wear their pants down low like that they 100% have given up on life. Okay. Usually the guys that wear the pants like that, those are the same guys that have no father in the family. Remember we did, what was the talk we did on? I think we did it on reparations. Reparations, yeah. Last week. Wasn't last week? It was last week. Okay, let's do this. Remember, we did. Okay. I'm just going to write down the word again. Social conformity? No, well, kind of. Remember the topic we did on reparations? Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Where do they get this from? Okay. Remember we talked about reparations, and we talked about Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ, right? Remember that? And we talked about how Lyndon B. Johnson started out his Fair Society program. Remember all that, right? And the Fair Society program, we said, sounded nice and everything. Well, what the Fair Society program actually was a set of rules for the black community that only applied to the black community. And what it did, it set up a set of rules for the black community, and the LBJ basically said, this is my way of enslaving the black people for the next 200 years, so they will vote for the Democratic Party for the next 200 years. And his way of doing it was a form of reparations, or paying the black people for doing nothing. He was trying to encourage them to do nothing so that they would rely their whole life on the government. That way, if they relied their whole life on the government, they would have to do what the government said to get the free money. See what I'm saying? So you'd have to vote for the Democrat Party to get your free money. What does that mean? What they did is they created programs that benefited the black people and not the white people. They also made programs where it benefited black women. It benefited them to be single rather than stay with the father. Back then, back in the 1960s, 80% of black families had a strong black father, a strong role model, black father in the family. 80%. Today, 20% of black families have a father. What's the importance of a father? Father teaches you how to get a job, how to work, how to be respectful, how to respect other people, how to respect girls, how to do an honest, hard day's work, how to be responsible, how to not rob people or hurt people. That's what a father does. But back then, LBJ, with his Fair Society thing, tried to encourage the families to split up. So they made laws that would say if a black woman had a certain amount of kids, they would get a certain amount of money that was way more than they could make in a real good, decent job. So black women were making more money on welfare and food stamps and on social benefits than if they were working. They also encouraged women at that time, black women, you don't need a man. You don't need to have the father around. So the black women started pushing the black men away. And as the black men went away, kids started raising without a father. And then the black women would teach their sons, teach their daughters, you don't need a man. You don't need a man. You can just do this, get the social benefits and make money. You don't need a man. You don't need a man. So we had a generation of black girls being taught they don't need to marry. They can stay single and make more money. They don't need a man. LBJ also made all kinds of programs that would put black men in jail for the smallest things. Getting caught with a little bit of drugs, doing, whatever they did, they were putting him in jail. So they would separate the families that way. Give the woman money to stay home, put the man in jail. So for 50 years, they split up the family. Then they also instituted programs in jail, which we're going to talk about, that mimicked something that happened in slavery. Okay? So, you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, if you look at the guys who wear the pants like this, below their waist, or below their butt, these are usually not your doctors, your lawyers, your bankers, your business owners. They're not the leaders in society. They are by far the followers or the people in society that are reliant on others to take care of them. Okay? Let's see. So what is this? Where did this come from? Let's talk about this now. Buck breaking, where did it come from? In the time of slavery, back in the 1800s, when they were getting the black men from Africa, a lot of times you would get, especially the really strong ones, the really tough ones, who did not want to be a slave, which was practical, all of them. They would have a few that were just rebellious. They would fight their slave owners. They would, refuse to work. They would, a lot of them were the smart ones or the most educated ones. Maybe they were leaders back, in Africa, in their tribes or in their communities. They were leaders. They were the smart ones. They were the educated ones. They were the leaders in their community. So when they came over here, they did not want to be slaves. So what they used to do to make them conform and break their will, like the bronco busting, is what they would do is they would take all their clothes off and they would whip them and beat them and whip them and beat them in front of everybody, in front of all the other slaves. It had to be done in front of all the other slaves. 2 reasons: to break their will completely and to teach the other slaves, this is your toughest guy. If this is what we do to your toughest guy, think of what we'll do to you. So they would beat them and whip them, beat them and whip them, and then they would tie him down to the ground naked. And then members of the slave master, it might not have been the slave master himself, but it would be the slave masters, the ones who control the slave, tell him what to do. They would basically rape him in his butt in front of everybody, in front of all the kids, all the women, all the other men. They would rape him. Many times they would also not, wouldn't be just one time, it'd be repeatedly, over and over. Sometimes the masters, the slave owners, would call for their other slave owners in the other communities, the other towns. They would say, send us your guys. They would even send black guys that were slave masters, because sometimes they had trained big black guys to control the smaller black guys. We'll make you the slave master. We'll feed you better. We'll give you guys benefits. Just control your people. So they would bring from other slave owners the slave masters who can control them, and they would all rape the guy on the ground while everybody in the community watched. Sounds horrible. I know it's horrible. I want you guys to know why, though. It's horrible, but they would rape him. And the reason they had to beat him first is because they wanted him too weak to fight back, like with the horse. So they beat him first. When he was too weak to fight back, and he's tied to the ground, they would rape him repeatedly. Then what happened is when they let him go, they would tell everybody, remember this, don't let anybody do what he does, talks back, smart mouths, reads books, learns, does anything. So it was a lesson to the community. And then when the guy got up, what do you think they did? They would force him for the rest of the time he was there to wear his pants below his butt as a sign for him to remember what happens to you when you talk back. And when his pants are below his butt walking around, it reminds the other slaves, remember what we did to him in front of you. So you guys, when we say, pick that cotton, pick that tobacco, you pick that cotton, you pick that tobacco, and keep your mouth shut. Now remember, we talk about this many times. This is not the action of honest, God-fearing, God-loving people. This is the action of triangle people, total, absolute evil, that want to control people, control the world, control society, and enslave others. This is not something, the reason a lot of us can't even fathom that someone would do that is because we're not triangle people. Does that make sense? If you're not evil, you don't think of evil things. Evil people stay up night thinking of other evil things they can do to control and hurt people. So that whole thing was a thing that was created by triangle evil people to control their slaves. Make sense? Yeah. And that guy, when he got up and wore his pants around, from that day forward was a different person. Never talked back, never opened his mouth again, just walked around moping. Probably was not that good of a worker anymore, but the slave masters didn't care. That one act controlled the whole black community. Now you had 300, 400, how many black people were there, slaves, were all now controlled because of the actions they did to one person. And him walking around with his pants down low was a sign of their control. That whole group of slaves was now controlled for years. Okay? That's why they did it. Now, a lot of time, you'll see too, a lot of the guys that come out of prison wear the pants like that. Why do you think? Out of prison. Same thing. They're sent to prison all tough and smart-mouthing, and when they get to prison all tough and smart-mouthing, there are the other big black guys in prison. Do you think they're all the guys in prison are just gay? Probably not. Maybe some of them are, but they're not gay. They're not doing it out of gayness. They're doing it out of, I'm bigger, I'm tougher than you, and I'm going to control you. So now the prison has been infiltrated with a slave mentality where the black people, the big black people, are given by the warden and the higher ups in the jail. You control the other black guys in here. We'll give you a better room. We'll give you better food. We'll give you privileges. We'll give you your key to your door. You can walk around the jail. Just keep control of everybody. And we'll give you more benefits and better food and better accommodations. We'll even let girls come and visit you once in a while. They do that because those big black guys are controlling the younger guys by basically replacing the slave master's job back in the times of slavery. One guy comes in, let's control him, we'll all grab him, force him down, and rape him. Now they'll tell the guy, remember what we did to you, you now have to wear your pants below your butt. That's where it comes from. Make sense? Now you'll see somebody say, no, it came from the rap community, the rap, because they wear that like that in rap songs. Okay? They do that in rap things, so it is a form of style. But do you think rap music originated from people saying, hey, we liked getting raped in slavery, we liked getting raped in prison, let's make a culture of wearing our pads down low? Does that make sense at all? Would it make more sense that somebody said, hey, we want you to make rap songs and we want you to make a culture of wearing your pants down low, and we'll give you money to do it? We'll get into that in a minute. A lot of times the rap music was made for the purpose of enforcing a behavior on a community that's not a good behavior. Okay. I wanted to talk about this real quick. This is kind of getting off the topic. Let's break the topic. We're off of just for a second. When you break the will of a community, you break the will of a community. Remember, we're Filipino. Remember when, I don't know if you guys remember, when we went to the Philippines, you probably don't remember, Alex was the oldest one, and Rose, you were like, I think a year, maybe a year and a half. You weren't born, Yana. Alex was, I think, 5. But if you remember, even if you don't remember, when we used to walk around the Philippines is so dirt poor. They're so poor. They have their cities like Manila, and there's other, Cebu City. There's a few cities like Las Vegas where the city is rich because all the rich people live there. But once you get out of that 10-mile diameter city, the communities around it are very poor. You walk around with houses up and down the streets that are made out of garbage, sheet metal and scrap wood and pallets that they found from the street that are made of their house. There's a small street where a car can drive, maybe a sidewalk where you can walk, and on both sides of the road is open ditches with sewage running up and down. Pure sewage. It smells like a toilet. It's filthy. The rich people are still there making the money. Philippines has one of the most corrupt governments in the world. The politicians are the richest people in the country. They have billions and billions of pesos back there. There's a politician there that has a house with, like, I think he's got 36 high-end cars, Lamborghini, Bugatti, all these expensive cars, millions of dollars worth of cars. And the people who works for him live in these shanty houses making probably 30, 40 bucks a week. The reason is what they're doing is, again, the rich people are trying to break the will of the people. They let them live in such shitty communities that they break their will to survive, to try to become them. But the people in the Philippines are so sweet and so nice that if you go there, they're just very, very sweet people. They've broken their will to try because the government's in charge, but they're set into this little way of their life. They learn to accept their fate. I have to live in this shanty of a house. I have to step across sewage. I got to go to work for 30 bucks a week while my master has a house full of Bugattis and McLarens. Okay, I'll give you another example. When I went to the Philippines one time, I went to the Philippines several times, but I went with a few friends from Hawaii, and we were in a van. They used to live there, so they were accustomed to that place. They were also broken to the Filipino community. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't broken. They were broken to the Filipino community. There was the guy driving, another man driving, a passenger. I was in the back seat, and there was a van, and there was a bunch of girls in the car, their wives and their kids. And we're driving on the street in Manila, very busy street, touch and go traffic, and a car was coming from this way, very slow from an intersection. There's no rules in traffic. It was just get where you had to go. It's not like over here where it was organized. It was just absolute chaos. We're in a car and we're moving this way, and a car slowly started coming this way. And I was watching the car out the window. I'm like, what's he doing? What's he doing? It wasn't fast. It was slow. It was deliberate. That's what I'm saying. This car came slowly, and then boom, he hit the van deliberately on the side. Hard. So we had to pull over. We got out. There was 2 cops in the car. 2 corrupt piece of crap Filipino cops in the car. They're yelling at the driver of our car. What'd you do? What'd you do? You hit us. I'm yelling at the guy. They're like, we're sorry. I'm like, sorry? And I was swearing. This MF hit us. They were looking at me, the police, because they knew I was American. I was speaking in English. I was screaming. Motherfuckers, you hit us. Oh, excuse me. I don't want that on Facebook. I was yelling at them. You MFers, you hit us. I watched, you hit, and boom, you hit us. We're on the side. How are we going to slam the van on the side? You hit us. They were yelling at us. You hit us. You're going to pay us right now. These corrupt cops. So they were like, how much you got? How much you got? I'm like, are you kidding me? I said, there's 3 of us. There's 2 of them. Let's pull them around the back of the building and beat the crap out of them. I don't care if they're cops. They're not in uniform, and they're corrupt. That's because I was American. Let's beat them, put them on the corner, and let's beat the shit out of them. I was so mad. They're like, no, shh, quiet. What are you talking about? Just quiet. The women were like, put in my mouth, quiet. Let's just pay them. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Long story short, they pulled out of their pocket. They gave the police 2,000 pesos, which is is probably like $150. They paid them. My point is, they used to live there, the Filipinos that were driving with us. They were broken to the society in the Philippines. The police do something wrong, you pay them. The police threaten to arrest you, you pay them. Don't fight back. They were broken. I was not. Okay, so we're gonna change gears again. We're still talking about this. Okay, we're still now talking about learned helplessness. So this prison life and this slave mentality life, and this my story with the Philippines, is learned helplessness, where a powerful group or entity is trying to teach the group below them to be helpless for life. So this is a process of learned helplessness, where they're trying to teach them to be helpless for life. One of the big things this is why I wanted to have a record of this, because I believe 10 years from now, hopefully less than 10 years, hopefully 5 years from now, but at least 10 years from now, 20 years from now, the world will absolutely change. Because the more people that are talking about what I'm talking about now, the more people will become aware of it. Like I said in the beginning, if the black guys who wore their pants low like that knew where it came from slavery, they would stop it immediately. They don't stop it because they think it came from rap music. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead there. Talking about rap music. Rap music started in the 1970s. And rap music in the 70s was basically about black life, and it was positive. It was a positive kind of music. So the music was to try to teach the younger generation how to be good guys, how to learn how to do things, how to be tough, how to be good people. So rap music started off as a positive on the black community in the 70s. Once it got to the 80s, it took a radical turn. It turned into what they call gangster rap. Gangster rap is completely different than rap music. Gangster rap is that music like why these bitches be hoes, and kill the cops, and rob people, and shoot people, and F the police, and that's the gangster rap. Where did that come from, gangster rap? In the early 1980s, there was a big meeting between the top rappers of the time. There was Ice-T, who was also, his music was okay. I liked him. He plays a cop in a lot of detective shows. There was Ice Cube, which is one of my favorite rappers, not for his music. His music sucks. I hate his music. But he's a funny comedian, and he's in a lot of those tough guy cop movies. So he's funny. I like him. But him, and there was a bunch of other rappers. I have a list here. There's a group, NWA. There's another group. Wu-Tang Clan. There's a bunch of them. But they had this meeting with triangle people in the government. I'll give you a hint of who in the government. I'm just going to write it down. I don't want to get banned on YouTube. They had a meeting with triangle people, evil people, and the evil people had an idea of how to make the black community even worse than it was. So they made a deal with these artists, and they said, this is what we want you to write about. We want you to write about killing cops, robbing people, punching old ladies in the face, treating women like trash, and all this stuff, just destroying the community. And they told these artists, you're not making a lot of money right now. If you want to make real huge money, do what we tell you to do, write this music, and we'll make sure that you guys become millionaires, if not billionaires. So they transformed the whole music industry and the rap industry to turn it into gangster rap back then, to further split up the community and further teach the black community learned helplessness. Do what we tell you to do. You guys are nothing. You're trash. You're garbage. Just live a life of robbing people and beating up people, treating women like garbage, and we'll make sure that you guys are rich, even though the community below you will not. As far as I know, I think Ice-T and Ice Cube are good guys today. I've even seen Ice Cube speak out about what happened back then and said, yeah, that's what they did. They gave us money. We did it. And now we see what we did, and we're like, we're horrified of what we did. I've seen him do a video like that. I don't know if he means it or not, but they realized today what they did. They helped destroy the black community. And the gangster rap is where they reinforced, hey, you want to be cool like us? Put your pants below your butt. That's why the young guys think they're being cool like the gangster rap, because they're wearing their pants down low. They think that's the reason, but it's not. It's because some bad three-letter agencies, evil triangle people, changed their favorite music into a music of learned helplessness, and their music has taught them it's cool to wear your pants like that. But if they knew they were wearing their pants like that, again, why does it have to be below their butt? It's not up here. It's got to be below their butt. Why? That's where their butthole is. That's stupid, because that's to teach you learned helplessness. When you were a black slave, we used to rape you to conform you. When you're in prison, we rape you to conform you. The paid rap, gangster rap, is teaching them wear their pants below their butt, because learned helplessness, the system is raping you. And one of the things that reinforces that, believe it or not, is their moms. Their moms. It's almost 100% guaranteed that the black guys who wear their pants like that don't have a dad at home. Because the dad, if they do have a dad at home, it's a dad who just got out of prison and he wears his pants like that. But if it's a strong, if their dad is a lawyer, a doctor, a business owner, a banker, a worker in a factory, the kids aren't wearing their pants like that, because they have a dad that teaches them morals and strengths and how to be a responsible adult. But the ones who don't have a dad, who have just a mom, the mom is teaching them, you'll be nothing, you're worthless, you're trash, you're garbage, you're nothing. You'll never get a job, you'll never go to law school, you'll never go to medical school, you'll never become nothing. So they're taught that from their moms. to be helpless. And then when they go out in the streets and everyone's wearing their pants like that, they've learned from their moms to be helpless. It reinforces in the community to be helpless. And they're looking for a gang or someone to become a slave master over them, to tell them what to do, because they can't live their life by themselves. Why does the mom teach them like that? They don't even know they're doing it. They have learned helplessness too, the moms. They have given up on society as well. The moms have learned from LBJ and his social fair society that you don't have to work ever, ever, ever again. Just have kids, stay at home, collect unemployment, collect welfare, free money, free insurance, free school, free money, free phone, free electricity, free food, free rent, free everything, and we'll give you extra money. There are a lot of black women, and I'm not saying anything bad against them. This is just they've learned this helplessness, and they're stuck in it. They're just mad all the time. They're mad all the time. They always pick fights. They always yell at people. They pick fights with Asians. They pick fights with whites. They even pick fights with other black people because they think the whole world owes them everything because they were taught from LBJ that in a fair society, they get everything for free. They pass that on to their kids. A lot of them make so much money because if they have a lot of kids, they make so much money. They get $300 haircuts, $400 haircuts. They get their nails done. They don't have a job. They're taking the money that they're supposed to be paying for food on their family, the welfare and the food stamps, and they're getting their nails done and their hair done. They don't have jobs. I don't need a man. I got my own money. That's what they do. Problem is they're teaching their sons also, you don't need a job. Your father never stayed around. He's a piece of crap. You're a piece of crap. And they do that on purpose because that's what they're taught. So it's a bad society like that. And the reason I'm going over that right now is this is a big word going, I'm not going to write it down, but this is a big word going around the black community now. Even the black community is separating between one group and one group. The educated black people they have named a term called ghetto fatigue. What do you think ghetto fatigue is? Want to guess? Ghetto fatigue is where a certain group, the ones who have jobs, pay taxes, take care of their kids, belong in families, are looking at their own people and saying, damn, you're making us look like idiots. Like there's the black guys who go, a few communities will go on carnival cruises. They'll bring their giant boom boxes by the beach, by the pool on the cruises. They'll bring and all they're there is to drink like fish, alcohol, play their music loud, and pick fights on the boat. Ghetto fatigue. Like why do our own people act like that? Stop it! You're making us look bad. When certain people, black people, even see that the young black kids will go to a store in a mob, trash the place, rob everything, and pull the place blind. They'll look at that and go, oh my God, I'm getting so sick of that. Why do we keep robbing people? Why do we keep punching old ladies in the face? Why do we keep raping people? Why do we keep hurting people? So one group is getting fed up with it. They're getting what's called ghetto fatigue. I've had enough of this, our own people destroying the world. So they're now starting to try to force them to stop it because they're getting ghetto fatigue. It's not just everybody else. They're getting ghetto fatigue. Okay? So in closing with this topic, I know this was kind of a hard topic to talk about, but I want you guys to know about it. Right now, I'm sure you guys now know because you know the history of buck breaking, learned helplessness. You know where it came from, right? If they knew where it came from, they would snap out of it like this and say, oh. And if they learned that LBJ ruined the black community because of all this free stuff, they would snap out of it like that. If the mothers would realize we're not taking good care of our kids because they're becoming punks and they're not becoming anything in life. If they knew about this, they would snap out of it like that. So that's why I wanted to do this talk, because I wanted evidence on there that maybe someone will see, and maybe I'm I'm not the first one to talk about this. There are people online that are talking about this like crazy now. I wanted to stoke the flame and get it going so that the whole world will wake up and realize what's going on. we're being taught by very evil people, learned helplessness, how to stay in the box, behave yourself, do what you're told, and live the bare, meager life that you can while we maintain all the money and riches and power while you guys become slaves. So, you understand why I wanted you guys to learn about this?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll end it right there.